This is Cas with Anora, and you're watching the Chat with Chaps live show.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to another edition of Chat with Chaps with me, Stephen. As you can see on YouTube, perhaps not for the guys listening on Spotify. Unfortunately, the scheduling and the quick turnaround to try and get a podcast out before the Lions travel to Turf Moor has meant that I'm flying solo today. Unfortunately, the boys weren't able to join me, and we weren't able to get a representative from Burnley, one of the Burnley podcasts, to come and give us their view on the game on Saturday. However, it is game number 46 for the Lions in the Championship. And of course, we had to bring you a preview. It's the biggest game of the season. It's the biggest game we've played in for a little while now. I think there's a lot riding on the game. There's a lot going into the game, a lot of hope. And of course, as I say, we had to make sure that we give you a preview. Maybe you're listening to this on the way up to Turf Moor. I will be traveling up in the morning myself. I might make my dad listen to this back, and get us another view. I'm sure Chris won't mind. But as always, guys, if you can like, subscribe, share this with your friends, family members. Maybe they're not Millwall supporters, but they might want to support the channel because of the great things that we do for charity. If you're not aware, if you're new round here, all of the money that's raised on this channel is donated to cancer research. All of the funds from YouTube, Spotify, the charity day that we did a couple of weeks ago at the Den, everything, all the funds go over there. So all the support is more than welcome. Please, as I say, like and subscribe. And then give us your thoughts. This is new for me. This is, I think, the first time I've done a podcast pretty much on my own. So let me know what you think. I'll give an opportunity to do some predictions later, how you think the game might go, how you think the rest of the championship's going to go, because it's going to be a crazy day on Saturday, not just for the Lions. As I said earlier, game number 46. It's been a long, hard season for the Lions. We've had to deal with a number of issues, both on and off the field. I think it's worth remembering at this time Mati Sarkic, who we unfortunately lost last summer. That again rocked the club very much at the beginning of the season. The turmoil with Harris, everything was going really well. Then he left. It was a bit shaky. The board, maybe not panicking, but wanted to make sure they bring in the right person, especially in January with funds being spent and Alex Neil coming into the club. And as I say, we're going into the last game with a real big opportunity to make something incredible happen in this season. Will we do it? Time will tell. We've probably got on paper the hardest fixture in the league to try and make our hopes and dreams, if you will, come to reality. Burnley away, traveling to Turf Moor. Their record there is phenomenal. They're unbeaten at home all season. I believe they're on a 32 game unbeaten streak. They're going for a record in the division if they remain undefeated against the Lions on Saturday. Hopefully that won't happen, but that's kind of what we're up against. They've only conceded 15 goals all season in the division, which again just goes to show how good they have been. It's a monumental task for the Lions. I don't know if you watched the live in the week with myself, Joe, and Disco Steve. We tried our best to be level-headed, I think, and I think that's the message, that if anybody wants to listen to what I have to say, I think the message from me is level-headed. We never expected to be in this position. There's an awful lot of people that, just like myself, probably 2-3 weeks ago, probably thinking, well, we'll prepare for next season. We'll see how it ends up, and we'll go again in the summer. And Alex Neil's done a great job, and the Lions have done remarkably well to put themselves in this position. 7th in the league, joint on points with Coventry, who sit just above us, obviously with a slightly better goal difference. 1 point behind Bristol City, who lay in 5th place. And as I said earlier, all the games, I think there's 8 fixtures in the division that have some form of relevance on either the top, the title, Leeds and Burnley obviously going for the title. Two playoff spaces up for grabs. Again, lots of fixtures that involve teams, including again us and teams at the bottom of the league. So all to play for. What can we expect from Burnley, or what am I expecting from Burnley on Saturday? Well, as I said, 15 goals conceded all season is a remarkable effort. James Trafford in goal has earned a lot of plaudits. I believe they've got a couple of other players at the back. CJ Egan Riley, a centre back, young centre back who's highly rated. The record speaks for itself. They don't concede many goals. There was a clip that went up on social media. I'm sure lots of you have seen it who follow, Millwall and other clubs on X and Instagram of the defensive work rate of the Burnley side against QPR. I think all 11 players ended up coming back to stop a counter attack. So they're proud of their record. They want to keep clean sheets. They want to protect their goalkeeper, and it's something that we're going to have to find a way of trying to combat if we want to get anything from the game. In recent times, again, the stats look formidable. Burnley in their last 6 games have amassed 16 points, 5 wins and a draw, joint top in terms of the current form over that period of time with Leeds. It's to be expected. They don't lose many games of football. They've conceded just 4 goals in those 6 games, scored 13, which is quite an interesting stat actually, because they don't typically score lots of goals. There've been a lot of criticism of 1-0, 0-0s, don't create lots and lots of chances. For a team that's so good and has amassed so many points, they do it by being strong at the back. But 13 goals in the last 6 games, obviously helped by 5 at QPR last weekend. So they'll be coming into the game with some kind of form. However, we can't just discount the Lions. We can't rule ourselves out. We've been billed as the underdog. I believe Jake Cooper has given an interview to Millwall TV today talking about how we're the underdog. I know we've tried to come away from that in recent weeks and recent months. I think Alex Neil has kind of put that to bed a little bit. I think everybody still knows that we're in terms of the budget that we have, in terms of maybe the squad that we have as well, that we are one of the poorer relations in the Championship, which makes us by default an underdog. However, we're performing much better than that. And again, the stats say the same thing. In the same time frame in the last 6 games, obviously the Lions sit joint third in the form table, having amassed 5 wins themselves and the unfortunate defeat at Blackburn on Good Friday. But again, we're winning games of football. We've put ourselves in a position to attack the last game of the season. I think it's an exciting prospect, and we're in a winning habit. Okay, Burnley are in a winning habit as well, but it'd be 2 teams that, for their own reasons, will want to go out and win the game. And I think that's going to make for perhaps a slightly entertaining game, which may not suit us. It might suit us for it to be cagey and perhaps stay in the game and look to hit them on the counter, maybe in the second half with a late goal. But reasons to be optimistic. There's not many, but there are a few. The last team to beat Burnley in the league was Millwall on, I believe, November the 4th. Jake Cooper scoring the winning goal. I believe it was a Sunday game and a header at the Coldblow Lane. So we have beaten Burnley in the league this season. There's not many teams that can say that. So that's reason one. I would imagine the Burnley fans expect, and most of the division would expect, that Leeds are going to win their last game of the season. They're playing Plymouth, who, barring a miracle, are all but down. So Leeds are likely to take the title on goal difference, which is a cruel way for a league campaign to end if you're a Burnley fan. But I think most people expect Leeds to win the league. So Burnley are not necessarily playing for an awful lot. Yes, they will want to win the game, of course. Yes, if Leeds slip up, they have an opportunity to win the league. But I think most people expect it to just be a case of they're going for the records, i.e. the clean sheets, the unbeaten streak, things like that, which will be important to the players. It'll be important to Scott Parker, but it's not the same as having a real chance of promotion on the line. And I think that's something that will spur Alex Neil on. It will spur the players on. It will spur the travelling fans on, and anyone who's watching, up and down the country or all over the world. It will spur the Lions on. In recent weeks, Ian Fleming has obviously scored quite a few goals for Burnley. He scored 2 last week at QPR. I think he sits on 10 goals for the season overall. I think it's been, from his perspective, a successful move. He will now be a Premier League player. However, he's unavailable to play due to the transfer, the loan transfer deal last summer. Millwall obviously put in a clause that he cannot play in both fixtures, so they will have to make a little bit of a change. Yes, okay, they have an abundance of quality. You look across their team: Marcus Edwards playing Champions League football recently, Hannibal, Jeremy Sarmiento, Josh Brownhill scored a lot of goals this season. The names just keep, you reel it off and you think, again, it's a reason to be fearful, but we're Millwall. We're not fearful. We don't look at opposition like that. They have some good players, of course they do. And to touch on Josh Brownhill, actually, I know I think he's on penalty duty, so a lot of his stats are perhaps boosted by that. But he's still scored 16 goals this season. He's not a striker, so clearly instrumental in their season. He's got 6 assists as well, so clearly someone we're going to have to look out for. But as I say, there are a few small reasons to be optimistic going into the game. From a Millwall perspective, I don't think there'll be much change to how we approach the game. From a kickoff perspective, I think Alex Neil's not going to be silly. He's not going to go gung ho against a very, very strong Burnley side. But I think he'll still go with the 2 up front. We've got no reason to change it. It's been pretty successful for us. You'll see Ivanovic, you'll see Coburn. Both still have, I think, things to prove. Coburn undecided what's going to happen to him over the summer. He's going to want to end his season in the strongest way possible. Ivanovic will want to score more goals. He's obviously had a great season. He's picked up a lot of awards. He's getting a lot of attention from outside of the football club. So I think both of those will be keen to show what they can do. Femi Aziz in the side, again, probably one of our better players. I'm sure most people will be forthcoming in reminding me that I give him a little bit of a half time at the start of the season. He's been phenomenal. He looks fit. He looks raring to go. I think we've got a very strong back 4. They will be tested, but again, the boys have worked incredibly hard to get us in this position. They beat Sheffield United away from home. We beat Leeds away from home. Okay, it was in the FA Cup, but we've still beat them. We've beat Leeds and Burnley at the Den. We have nothing to fear on Saturday, and I genuinely believe that whilst I don't know how it's going to go, and I don't. Of course I want us to win. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I think the boys will give us everything on Saturday. They will give us the best chance, in my opinion, to make the playoffs. What that looks like, I don't know. But I firmly believe that we'll be going to Turf Moor with a real optimism that we can go there and spoil the party for Burnley, but create one of our own. One other area that I did want to touch on in terms of the playing squad is the goalkeeper position. Again, there's been lots of rumours that Liam Roberts may be fit. Would he take George Evans' spot after his man of the match performance against Swansea last weekend? For me, for what it's worth, I think George Evans has been excellent. Okay, tough time in his first game against Blackburn, but against Norwich I thought he was pretty good. Obviously against Swansea, man of the match, kept the season alive, excellent performances. But I just think if Roberts is available, personally I would be putting him into the team and giving him the opportunity to perhaps repay the faith that the fans have had in him, the club have had in him. Okay, he's one of our own. In terms of a playing squad, we are going to look out for our own, but I think he would want to try and do his bit and try and show show the fans that he appreciates the support, which is why, as I say, experience. He is a first team goalkeeper, and I think he has a little bit of a point to prove. So I would be putting him in at this point. If you're still with me, still watching, if you could add a comment, whether you think it would be Liam Roberts or George Evans in goals, what would you do? Would you make the change? Do you agree with me to do that? Do you disagree with me? Add your comments into YouTube. All the comments and things like that get looked at by all the boys, obviously myself on this one. So more than happy to have a conversation there. But yeah, would you go with Roberts? Would you go with Evans? I think that's one of the talking points that may come out of team selection heading into the game. The other one for me would be perhaps Luke Cundle. Hasn't quite hit the heights that we expected, especially after the first game where he looked pretty good and got his goal. I thought on Saturday again against Swansea, George Honeyman come on and played very well. He gave us a little bit of assurance down the right-hand side. Okay, maybe not the most attacking and the most vibrant of players, but certainly against a team that's going to have a lot of the ball, I think George Honeyman will be crucial, and I would perhaps start him over Cundle. And then again, if you need a goal, if it's still 0-0 and you know results are going in your favour, I think then you might see the likes of Cundle or Maku come on and defensive minded players perhaps sacrifice. But they would be the only two changes. I think everybody else, providing they're all fit and come through unscathed after Saturday, would be in the team. For Burnley, again, can't see them making many changes. They've been excellent, apart from Fleming, who obviously cannot play. I don't know. They don't have many recognised strikers, so it'd be interesting to see how they line up. But it'll be tough, whoever they put out, and I'm sure it'll be, as I say, an abundance of quality in the Burnley side, whoever it is that lines up against us on Saturday. In terms of a prediction, guys, I know we do this. It's a part of the podcast. It's something that we get you guys to get involved in as well. I'd like to see your comments. Do you think we can win the game on Saturday? Do you think it'll be enough if we win the game on Saturday? Personally, I think if we do win, I think we will make it. I think one of the other teams may falter, so a win I think will see us get in. It would be quite disappointing if we were to win the game and both other sides do win as well, but I'm not personally, I don't think that's going to happen. Bringing it back to Burnley versus Millwall. Let me know your score prediction. I will do it. I will stick with the positivity. I will say that we will get over the line and find a way of earning 3 points on Saturday. I can't come on here and say that we're not going to do it, can I? But I do believe that we'll have a chance. Someone in, I'm expecting us to play in the grey kit, the steel grey kit. Someone in grey on Saturday will have a chance to score the goal and make himself a little bit of a hero in SE16. I'm backing one of two to do it. One of them, a little bit unexpected, Tristan Kramer. I think his time is coming in the Millwall shirt to get a goal. He was very close on Saturday. He scored a few goals for Exeter in League One prior to joining the Lions, and I think his time is coming for a goal in a Millwall shirt. And of course, the big Serb, Mihailo Ivanovic. I can see him having a chance, and if a chance falls to anybody in the Millwall team, for me, you want it to fall to him. And I think if we get that to him and we get that chance, I think he takes it. So I'm going to go with a 1-0 win for Millwall, and I think that will be enough to get us in the playoffs. Of course, any Burnley fans watching this will think that I'm perhaps going with what I hope rather than what I think, and they might be expecting to give us a little bit of a pounding on Saturday. But I believe we will go there and get a result. And if we don't, it'll be disappointing. Of course it will. But the boys have given us a lot to be proud of this season, and they've given us a lot to be hopeful for over the summer and next season. So we go there with no fear. We go there with no just no fear. We don't need to worry about it. No one expected it. No one is giving us a chance, and we go there and do what we do best, try and turn up and spoil the fun. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed me rambling on about the game on Saturday. Not the same quite of preview. I get that, and I know you guys like the interaction perhaps with the other channels. We are going to look at the new year of having a little bit more structure with these and making sure that we've got them for every game, have other podcasts on, and getting it a little bit more balanced with the view. Let me know your thoughts. Do you agree with the things that I've said? Do you disagree with the things I've said? I always enjoy it sometimes, and this might be a bit odd thing to say, but I always enjoy it sometimes when there's a little bit of a difference of opinion. So we can have a little debate. Add your comments in, and we'll go back and forth. As you know, me and the boys love talking about Millwall, so we're more than happy to have that discussion. As I said at the beginning of the show, please like, please share, please subscribe. Me personally, I appreciate people watching what we do. If you've come up to me, if you've met me, if you've spoken to me and passed on a message on what we do, I really appreciate it. I appreciate all the support that I get. I appreciate all the support the channel gets, and all of the guys do. So thank you very much for listening this season. It does mean a lot to all of us. As I say, the charity side of things, we've raised I believe it's over £9,000 for cancer research this year, which is a phenomenal effort, and it wouldn't be made possible without you guys. So thank you so much. This has been the Burnley preview. I think we're going to do it. I hope to see as many of you there on Saturday, nice and early. We'll be setting off nice and early from the south to make our way up north. 1-0 Millwall. Do we dream that the Premier League is in touching distance? I think we can, and I think we win the game and we make the playoffs. Come on, you Lions.
Hello, Millwall fans. Paul Eiffel here. It's time for Chat with Chaps.